I'll have to deviate from what I have planned because one presentation is missing, so I'll do it next week. Anyway, last week we did about the introduction of international trade, and we discussed about the parties involved. Then we discussed about the absolute theory and the what is the other one? Comparative advantage, absolute advantage. Then we discussed about the factors outside, external factors affecting international trade operations and other introductory things. Last week I told you the most important thing in international trade is the payment methods in international trade. So most of our operations revolve on these payment methods. So today we'll discuss about the various payment methods in international trade operations, right? In international trade operations, there are 4 main payment methods to make payments to the exporters. One is advance payment, another one is open account trading, and the third one is documentary credits, and the fourth one is documentary collection. Fourth one is documentary collections. Right? So those are the 4 main payment methods in international trade operations. Right? Then, when it comes to a transaction between a buyer and the seller, they have to choose what is the best payment method that will be suitable for their transaction. The choice of methods, right? Then what determines buyer-seller relationship? Based on the buyer-seller relationship, what should be the best method? Then another factor to make this choice is buyer's credit standing. They have to check. So if the first one will say buyer-seller relationship. If the buyer-seller relationship is very good, they know each other very well. They have a very long history of doing the trading between 2 parties. So then if they can trust each other, then they can go for an easy payment method like advance payment or open account. Right? So if the buyer's credit standing is not good, then they will not go for open account, because open account means once they send the goods, the buyer will send the money. But if the buyer's credit standing is not good, then there will be a delay, or the buyer may not send the money at all. So based on that, they have to choose what is the best method. Then competition. Then the uniqueness of the product. Uniqueness of the product. If it is custom made, it's a unique thing. Then the seller can demand. He has the upper hand. Right? Country conditions. The buyer and the seller are okay. They have a very good relationship. But the country condition, political and economic situation of a country, based on that also, you have to select your own choices. Right? Then, for example, you take the country condition of Sri Lanka these days. Right? Is it good or bad? Our economic situation is good or bad at the moment?
Bad at the moment.
Yeah, bad at the moment. Bad at the moment. There are so many restrictions. We can't remit the money out. Then the customers has to decide in a scenario like that, what should be the best payment method. Now we are talking about advance payment. Now, these days, advance payment is blocked by the banks. The central bank doesn't want us to send any advance payment anymore. So even though we are having 4 payment methods, one is cut off, right? Cash flow consideration, then transaction costs, and many other things. So based on those things, we'll have to decide what should be the best payment method to do the international trade transaction, right? Now, based on the risk, and the customers' priorities, we can segregate these payment methods like this. Now, according to buyer's perspective or the importer's perspective, right? For them, the lowest risk they are having is open account. Then the documentary collection. Then comes letter of credit. And the highest risk for an importer is cash in advance or advance payment. Right? Now, for a seller's perspective or the exporter's viewpoint, the best cash flow they can get for their cash flow, the best cash flow they can get is from cash in advance. They will ship the goods once they receive the money, advance payment. So then they will be very happy. Right? Then letter of credit comes next. Documentary collection, third one. The worst cash flow situation for exporter is open account. Right? So that shows buyer and seller have reversed priorities. Right? How the risk ladder goes up for the importer and how the risk ladder is playing the role for seller. Okay. Again, cash in advance and letter of credit. Now here for seller, cash in advance and letter of credit. The cash in advance is the best cash flow. Then comes letter of credit, right? So cash in advance and the letter of credit, those two terms favor seller. Okay. Then documentary collection and open account, those two terms will favor buyer. Any questions on this? Any questions on this? No. Right. Now, according to the risk ladder for exporter and the importer, for the exporter, most secured one is advance payment. And the least secured one for the exporter is open account. But for the importer, the most secured one is open account and the least secured one is prepayment or advance payment. Right? Okay. This is what we have discussed all this time. Now we'll discuss the first payment method, open account. The first payment method, open account, right? I have given you the handout. You have got the handout, no? Students?
Yes, sir.
Good. So, the open account, right? How it happens, seller will do the shipment and then buyer will pay. Seller will do the shipment and buyer will pay. Now, if I draw this, it is like this. We have the buyer and the seller. Can you see the board?
Yeah, sir.
Right, okay. So between these two parties, we have sales contract. Now the sales contract will be determined after certain discussions between the buyer and the seller, and they will choose the best payment method for it. Now they have selected open account. Right? Then the seller will send the goods. Number one, first step, seller will send the goods. They will ship the goods. Then the buyer will do the payment. Once they receive the goods, number two, the buyer will do the payment. Buyer will do the payment. Right? This is a simple cycle. Now, how can they do the payment? Either they can do a wire transfer, or by check, or by draft, or credit card. Right? They will do the payment. Now, the seller, what is going to happen to him? Once he ships the goods, he will cross his fingers and waiting, hoping that he will get paid. The buyer can always avoid the payment. Then the seller will lose the money as well as the goods. Right? And sometimes the foreign import regulations may prohibit these payments. Right? These things happens now. Then full country and buyer credit risk. Country risk. Then buyer's credit risk. If the buyer doesn't have money, he can't do the payment. If the country imposes certain restrictions, like what our government is doing now, you can't do the payment. Right? Consider payment type. So based on the payment type, based on everything, we will select the best payment method, whether it's SWIFT or wire transfer, whatever. Right? Then requires extensive knowledge of the buyer. The seller has to have a good knowledge about the buyer, because the buyer can play out. Right? So they have to have an extensive knowledge about the buyer. Underwriting, trade references, excellent reputation. They have to get trade references from buyer's banks or some other bank in buyer's country. They have to get those things. And they have to satisfy, the seller has to satisfy with the credit standing of the buyer. Here I have given the little bit elaborated cycle on open account. Can you spend about 2 minutes reading this? Right? Go by one, according to the numbers, first step, second step. Try to understand this. Okay. First step, between the buyer and the seller, they will have a sales contract, right? And then, based on the sales contract, the seller will send the goods. They will ship the goods to the buyer. Either after selling the goods or as per the sales contract, after 1 month or 2 months or 90 days period, the buyer will instruct his bank to remit the money to the exporter's bank as per the contract, right? So by that time, the goods have been cleared from the customs and they have sold the goods and they have, generate the proceeds, right? Now they will remit the money to the exporter's bank, and from the exporter's bank, the exporter will get the payment, right? Now this is the cycle of open account. Any questions on this? Any questions on this? Now, open account trading, when we joined the banks, that was in 1973, and till 1980s, 85, 90, up to late 80s, up to late 80s, in the world trade operations, the percentage of open account usage was about 5%. Advance payment usage was about 5%, another 5%. Altogether 10%. Open account and advance payment. About 50% LCs and 40% collection. That was the percentage in late 80s. As of now, the last few years, if you check the segregation, you will see open account is about 40 to 50%. A lot of people have gone for open account, right? Advance payment has increased by another 5%, about 10% advance payment. Collection about 30% and LCs about 20%. LC has come down because world has become smaller and smaller. Technology has advanced, right? Improved. So we can, the world has introduced WhatsApp, all these medias for communication, Messenger, WhatsApp, Messenger, and you can see the other party talking, right? You don't have to fly there. You can have the Zoom meetings, right? So everything has now sophisticated. And you can discuss everything and then you can go for the easy methods, but banks are losing money. because we are not going to get the commission out of the customers, right? Because more and more it will get sophisticated, the bank will lose the money. The bank will කැමති පරණ විදිහටම යනවා නම් කරන විදිහට ගියා නම් අපිට ඕන තරම් අපිට සල්ලි හම්බ කරන්න නෙමෙයි මම ඒකට වචන සිංහලෙන් කිව්වොත් අපිට ගරා ගන්න පුළුවන් කියලා. ඒක ටිකක් හොඳ නැති වචනයක්. ගරා ගන්න පුළුවන් කියන්නේ you can grab that. Right? එතකොට ඒ වගේ කරගන්න පුළුවන්. කරගන්න තිබුණ අවස්ථාව අපිට දැන් නැතිලා තියෙනවා. Because technology has improved vastly. Okay. In open account, now you see here exporter is sending goods to the buyer will send the money, but there are major risks to the exporters on open account transactions. Right? This risk we can categorize into three. One is buyer's risk. Buyer's risk. Right? Second one is country risk. Third one is first, second, third one is transit risk. Transport risk. While transporting, there can be risk to the goods. Right? First, we will see buyer's risk. The buyer's risk is also known as the credit risk. Right? Because buyer may not pay for the goods because of insolvency or willful default. Buyer insolvency වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්. එහෙම නැත්නම් willful default. He has planned to default willfully. The exporter lost control of the goods at the moment he dispatched them. Right? The exporter lost the control of the goods at the moment he dispatched them. Any questions on that? Any questions on that? Any questions? ඒ කියන්නේ questions නැද්ද? ඔයගලන්ට තේරෙනවද? එහෙම නැත්නම් තේරෙන්නෙම නැද්ද? Tell me, because then I'll have to change my approach. You understood what I have mentioned? Can somebody give me the feedback?
Understood, sir.
Understood, no? Right, thank you. එහෙම නැත්නම් මම බිලා සද්ද නැති ඉන්නකොට සර්ට ඕන එකක් කියව ගන්න කියලා ඉන්නයි කියලා. ඊයේ ක්ලාස් එකේ හිටියා more than 75, but they were very, very proactive, very, very proactive. This time it's a reverse thing. Normally the English class people will talk, they don't shy. මේ පාර ඔයගොල්ලෝ ඔක්කොම ලැජ්ජකාරී ටික අනිත් ක්ලාස් එකේ හැඩ ප්‍රශ්න අහන්න. The second one is a country risk. Country risk. The importer's government may introduce laws, exchange control, which prevents payment from being made. Okay, I have explained this to you. The transit risk. Goods travel much farther in international trade than they do in domestic trade. Right? So because of that, there can be a danger of loss or damage to goods on their journey from seller to the buyer. Right? Now we'll see how we can mitigate the risk. You can't eliminate the risk. These three risks you can't eliminate. These three risks you can't eliminate. Right? Cannot eliminate. Cannot eliminate. can mitigate. But you can mitigate. ඔයගලන් අවශ්‍ය තැන්වල notes ලියා ගන්න මම කියනකොට. But you can mitigate. මම එදා ගිය පාරත් you can't eliminate, but you can mitigate. Right? How you can reduce the risk? How you can reduce the risk? How you can mitigate the risk? Reduction of buyer's risk. The problem is whether he is a reliable party or not. That we can check through our banks. We can check through our banks. Right? We can ask for the status report of the customer. Status report of the customer from overseas bank. Right? Then reduction of country risk. Country risk. That of course you can check in the websites, Google, right? By obtaining political and economic reports of that reports that comments on situation in various overseas countries. Right? Whenever Lanka situation again, Google again, you know. So before you get involved in a trade transaction, these are the things you have to check. Right? Then reduction of transit risk. The best thing is to buy a insurance policy. Buy an insurance policy. The insurance policy can apply cover කරගන්න පුළුවන්. Sometimes on top of that, we can recommend to obtain export credit insurance guarantee, SLASIC guarantee, Sri Lanka export credit insurance guarantee. Right? I'm not going to elaborate further because I'm going to discuss it under some other topic, SLASIC guarantees. Right? So when we are discussing about SLASIC guarantees, that will cover this area. Right? And there is another, what we have mentioned, the 4 payment methods. Can somebody tell me the 4 payment methods?
Open account.
Open account.
Payment, advance payment.
Yes.
Documentary collection.
Documents. Hello. The last one.
Documentary credit and documentary collection.
Documentary credit, documentary collection. Right? Okay. Then altogether 4. There's another payment method which I have not mentioned, that is consignment basis. Consignment account. Documents sent on consignment account. Right? Consignment account. Consignment account. What is this consignment account? Consignment account is a system where one person sends the goods to another so that the latter can sell those goods on behalf of the person who sent it in the first place. That is what is happening in this transaction. Consignment. Right? They can send the goods, and for them to do, and requesting them to do certain things on behalf of the seller. On behalf of the seller. Okay? In international trade operations, this consignment account is very common in periodical business. Periodical business. Periodical business can be Times magazine, Economist magazine. ගොඩක් periodicals වලට තමයි වෙන්නේ. when a monetary operations එකේදී monetary operations එකේදී තමයි මේ වගේ දේවල් ගොඩක් වෙන්නේ. Right? මෙතෙන්දී if it is the books or what do you call this magazines, right? They will send the seller will send the magazines to the buyer on consignment basis. On consignment basis. That means they will ask the buyer to sell the goods and then send the proceeds. Then send the proceeds. Now, in a scenario like that, can somebody tell me who owns the goods? Now here, open account, when the seller sends the goods to the buyer, when the buyer goes to the customs and got this thing cancelled, then the ownership is with the buyer. Ownership is with the buyer. In the consignment basis, who is the owner? Who is the owner? Come on, lamai. Awang uttar denna. The owner is the seller. He is requesting this party, the importer, to sell the goods on behalf of him, and then send the proceeds. Right? Open account එකේ බඩු වට පස්සේ මේ බඩු විකුණලා ගෙවන්න කියලා ගන්නෑ. Straight away you have to pay. Right? But consignment basis, he will request the buyer to sell the goods and then send the proceeds. It can be part payments. Right? So entire profit or loss belongs to the consignor, and consignee receives the commission as his remuneration. Right? Then the consignee may return any unsold goods. Any unsold goods, consignee may return. Is it clear for you?
Hello, sir.
Yes, ඔයගලගේ මේ feedback හරි අඩුයිනේ. මෙහෙම ඉගෙන ගන්න බෑ. Do you have a question? අපතේ මොකද අහන්න කියන්නේ මට?
Here the consignor is the seller or consignee means the buyer. I can please.
Consignee is the buyer.
Okay.
Consignor is the seller. Right? Shall we write that point? Consignor is the seller. Consignee is the buyer. Is it clear?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Right. Right. So, if there are any unsold goods, what's going to happen? Consignee may return the any unsold goods along with the proceeds of sold goods. Here, the consignee will not get the profit or anything. He will get a commission as his remuneration. Only a commission. 10%, 25%, 30% commission like company. A commission is a remuneration. Right? That's what we call through balance again. He has to remit back to the consignor. The difference between open account and consignment account, right? Sometimes you might get a question like this. The difference between open account and consignment account. An open account transaction is a sale where the goods are shipped and related documents delivered before payment is made. Right? The ownership and the risk of goods transferred to buyer, and whatever the profit or loss is for the importer. The exporter receives only the agreed price at agreed date. Right? I think the profit and loss again, consignee. Now here, the entire profit will go to the consignee, the importer, right? And exporter will get whatever the part he suffered, or whatever the part he suffered, he will get the money, right? That's the cost of goods and the transport, cost of goods and the transport, and whatever the margin or provision he is keeping, he will get that. Extra profit is for the seller. Extra profit is for the seller. I try to elaborate this with an example. Right? The goods value US dollars 100,000. US dollars 100,000. They will send it on open account. They send the goods on open account. Right? They sell and earn US dollars 125,000. US dollars 125,000. Then the importer will remit US dollars 100,000, and his profit is US dollars 25,000. His profit is US dollars 25,000. Is it clear? Is it clear?
Yes.
Yeah, this is open account. Then consignment account, the goods sent US dollars 100,000, right? On consignment account. They sell for US dollars 125,000. Sell for US dollars 125,000. Right? Then they will remit US dollars 122,000. They will remit US dollars 122,000. Right? Okay. For අපි කියමු මෙයාට තුගලයා කියලා 5% His commission is 5% commission. 5% commission. What is the 5% of US dollars 125,000? What is 5% of US dollars 125,000? Can I get a phone? 5% of 125,000. Consignee, right? Consignee profit. How much? $5 of 125,000.
6.25.
How much?
6.25.
6.25. US dollars, 6. That means 625,000. Yeah.
62,500.
62,500.
Sorry, 6,500.
6,500.
250.
Yeah. Yes. His consigned profit is 6,500. Right? And he will remit how much? US dollars 17,000. 118,500. US dollars 118,500. Ilakka varudhu pullo. 125,000 is 6,500 adukanama. 118,500 he will remit. Right? This is not the profit. Full profit. Full profit take me had 25,000 me profit sales proceeds of come. Right? If me had 25,000 then me had 6,500. Now, can you see the difference between open account and consignment account? Right? If you get a question like that, you can explain this, and then you can do a small presentation like this. Then the examiner will come to know you got everything into your head. Right? Right. Cash in advance. That is advance payment. Cash in advance payment. Right? Here, what is happening? Here, what is happening? We have buyer and we have seller. Between them, we have the sales contract. That is number one. Then, based on the sales contract, buyer will send the money. Number one, payment. Buyer will do the payment to the seller. Then only the seller will send the goods. Once he receives the money, he will send the goods. Right? So, as per the presentation, the buyer pays either through wire transfer or check or draft or credit card. Then the seller ships the goods. Right? No risk to the seller except order cancellation. Right? Foreign import regulations may prohibit. Foreign import regulations may prohibit this one. Because when we are sending the goods, there shouldn't be any prohibition of importing those goods into the country. Hard sell to buyer. The buyer may face it a little bit hard to sell the thing, but can't help. Right? Buyer is at the mercy of the seller. Consider the type of payment. Wire transfer the best. Requires little to no credit understanding of the buyer. Little to remain little or requires little or no credit understanding of the buyer. They don't have to worry about the credit standing of the buyer because they have already got the money in advance, right? So KYC is important for you to take the decision, right? Now the advance payment, I have given this particular slides explained to you about the cycle of advance payment, and you go one by one, step by step, and try to understand and ask me questions. Okay. Any questions? Any questions about the chart? Any areas where you can't understand?
It's clear, sir.
It's clear. Fine. In advance payment, I have given you we have explained everything. Here, I'll have to elaborate on one important thing as bankers, whether are there any people working in trade finance department? Last week when I asked, nobody was there. A newly joined guys, are there any students working in trade finance at the moment? Nobody. Right. For open account transactions, what is the limit for open account transaction in Sri Lanka? What is the limit? What is the limit? Please jot down these things because in future also, before you come to the class, try to get a printout of the uploaded ones, because I normally upload 2 days before the class, so you have enough time to get a printout and keep it with you, so that if you want to add any more things while we are discussing, please do so. Right? Now, coming back to the question, what is the limit for open account in Sri Lanka? Open account. Huh?
USD 50,000?
No, wrong.
15,000?
No, wrong.
10,000?
No,
5,000.
no. Kau pernah ni 2,500, 2,000, 1,000, 500, 100. Oh, ini ni. Asal tak ada gelap. Open account.
No limit.
Limit. In Sri Lanka. How much? There's no limit. No limit. No limit කියන්නේ කඩේ නෙවෙයි ආ. ඒක නම් දන්නවා. ගෑන් ළමයි මේ බ්ලවුසස් ගන්න, ට්‍රවුසර්ස් ගන්න මේ cosmetics can be no limit, no limit. There's no limit, right? Okay. अब यार का बता दिया था common है no limit है. Open account no limit. Right? Then ये कड़वल थी ना पंदन ने में कोरोना के पास से. देखला मैं इसमें थी ना बता रहा. Then advance payment. Advance payment limit in Sri Lanka, how much?
USD 50,000.
USD 50,000.
50,000.
US dollars 50,000. Right? So, mame 50,000, 100,000 of all, you know, mame 50K kila dane. Yeah, they've been used to that. One exam give us 50K kila dane trust in there. K kyanne A means 0, 0, 0. 0, 0, 0. Right? 50,000. Okay. Now, as at today, what is the open account limit in Sri Lanka? As at today, I'm talking. You bankers, answer me. What is the limit in Sri Lanka for open account? As at today. There was a circular on 11 June. There was a circular on 11 June. 1 month back. Other 11th May, other 11 July. 1 month back. When you are working in a bank, especially when you are working in counters, in branches, branches when the customer says, and in a part, manage Podakinda, Sir Podakinda, Madam Podakinda, Chutakinda, Montakala, managing Alenang. Is a then Parana, Monada customers are here. I again, Ulang Mona again, Ugul in a Pumbagan in either. Look part at Dagan, a branch of in Apikiama, after down a part. Part Fedino got the Metiaka again, Ane Lamine, Mumbai Ugan, Uganane. Among our lake in a go, and sorry, that's in a bit of down party. Google a moment and either. It's a what? What he not tenant than Uglakan de Matakella. Ever Samaratina, Harisho. One weekend, yes, yes, madam, what can I do for you? And you got that in. Either no Google a cat in no. Alay Lahano, Miss. මොකද මිස් දැන් මේ ඕපන් account අපි කරන්න ඕන නම් මොකද්ද limit එක අදට මේ අද මේ අපි තුමේ හෙට ඇවිල්ලා අහන්නේ ඒතර මොනවද දෙන උත්තරේ circulars බලන්න ඕනේ කියන්නේ ඒක කීයද Lamai. Can you limit it? Look, okay, go on it. Panaigua, Visipaigua, Daeko, Paigua. It was one Kuana, or Magana in the plan, no limit killer. Thank you. Thank you. Then no limit. Then no limit. You can get down any amount, right? But you have to do the payment, you have to do the remittance, outer remittance within 365 days. Within 365 days. Out of the key are there. Out of that. Within 1 year, you have to do the payment. After 180 days, that means after 6 months, customs will start checking that. And banks will also start following it up. Right? 180 days තමයි තියෙන්නේ. හැබැයි you can do the payment within 365 days. Advance payment limit එක දැන් කීයද? පුතේ හිටියා හොඳට කතා කළා. පුතා ලොක් වුණානේ. පුතා ලොක් වුණා. හා? මගේ නන් ටික ලියාගෙන හිටියා. ඒ නන් ටික ගෙදර අද මම ඔෆිස් මේ IBS එකට ආවනේ. ප්‍රසන්ටේෂන් එක නැත්තම් මට ඔය ටික බලන්න තුනක් ළඟ නන් ටික. right? Shanali, Avanti, Prasanna Premalal, but I gave her hit a good up. But about the Lamaitia Kitia. The Lamaitia Kitia gave her a session of criminal idea. Other than good up in again, Lamai. Right. Can Band? Shanley, what do you think about it? Huh? What is the limit asset today? Advance payment. Is there a limit or still it is 50,000? Is it still 50,000?
50,000 itself.
50,000?
50,000 itself.
50,000 itself. Wrong. The answer is the government of Sri Lanka and the Exchange Control has restricted advance payment. At the moment, we can't do any advance payment. How the customer can get $25,000 advance payment remit කරන්න ඕනේ කියලා ගන්න නම් එපා application එක ඔයගලගේ head office එකෙන් බැනුම් අහන්න වෙනවා. ලොකුට කතා කරලා. ඒවා දැනගන්න ඕන. දැන් we have restricted because there is a severe shortage of foreign currency for Sri Lanka. Because of that, now we have stopped the advance. හැබැයි මේ ගැසට් කරලා මොකුත් නැහැ. No circulars, only they have informed the banks. The banks will not do. Get it South in the they can the means array banks on the kilo. So they have put on encourage. Okay. We assume it will come back to normal 50,000 very soon. And we pray for it. Right? ඔගොල්ලෝ ගෙවල් වලට ඉඳලා පරිස්සම් වුණොත් කොරෝනා අඩු කරගන්න හම්බ වුණොත් මේවා ටිකට් රට අරිනවා එතකොට එක්ස්පෝර්ට්ස් වැඩි වෙනවා ප්‍රොඩක්ෂන් වැඩි වෙනවා then we will get more foreign currency, right? Then we will be able to relax the restrictions at the moment. Now okay, we assume that it is 50,000 earlier, right? And we assume that it will going to be 50,000 in the future, right? ඒක මට කියන්න බෑ. ඒක වෙන්න පුළුවන් මෙහෙමත් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. තව අවුරුදු 5කින් විතර වගේ ඕගොල්ලෝ ආපහු ෆේල් වෙලා ආපහු මේ එක්සෑම් එකේ ට්‍රේඩ් පාර්ට් එක ෆේල් වෙලා ඉඳලා කරගන්න යනකොට ඔයගොල්ලෝ ලියන්න පුළුවන් වෙයි once upon a time the advance payment limit was 50,000 once upon a time. මම අවුරුදු 5කින් කියලා කියන්නේ මගේ මම කියන්නේ මම ගිය පාර කිව්වේ ක්ලාස් එකට ආපු ළමෙක් හිටියා 16 times කියන්නේ මෙච්චරද අවුරුද්දේ ඒ දවස්වල දෙපාරක් අපි එක්සෑම්ස් තිබ්බා. March and September. 16 times can 8 years, ne? 8 years. Okay, class again. Now I possible. දවසින් පාර කරන්න මට ආවේ බයකවට. එකපාරින්ම පාස්. ආසයි තමයි BA විතරක් පාස් වුණේ. අපි 50,000 නයි කියලා කිව්වා. මෙන්න මෙහෙම මම කියන්නේ actually what had happened in banks in Sri Lanka about 3 years back. This happened in 3 years back, right? And I found it this well practice while I was teaching, like what I'm doing now, right? And when we were discussing about these matters, then the students started having the conversations, right? And it was a physical class, so I can see, I could see how these people reacting to my comments. දැන් මට පේන්නේ නැහැ ඔයගොල්ලෝ විතර බුද්ධිත නැද්ද කියලාවත් මම දන්නේ නැහැ. හැබැයි අතෙන්දී අපි මම දැකලා මම ඇහුවාම තමයි කිව්වේ මේමයි කියලා. මෙන්න මේකෙදී there was a guy who opened, if you say 17 kena, 1st July, he opened he did an advance payment for US dollars 49,500 to import textile from Sharjah to Sharjah, UAE. Can we do this payment? Okay, assuming that the limit is 50,000 US dollars. Can we do the payment? Can we do the payment? Yes or no? Limit is 50,000.
Okay, can do it.
Can do it. And on the same day, this guy asked for another advance payment for US dollars 49,000 to Hong Kong trader. On the same day. Can we do this?
Can do it.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Can we do it? Please.
Can't do.
Can't. Why?
It's more than 50,000.
More than 50,000? No, it is 49,000.
Same day there are two advance payments.
You can't have same day 2 transactions. No. Right? What's your name?
Separate.
My dear?
Avanti.
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 Avanti, which bank?
Commercial.
Commercial. Okay. You are in a branch?
Katugasura.
Katugasura. But Avanti manang amatakena. Avanti madayena. My daughter is Avanti. She's also a banker. Right? She's also a banker at Standard Chartered Bank. කෙනෙක් ඉතින් ඒකින්ද මම දැන් අවන්තියින්ද වනම් දුවේ මට මතක තියෙයි. right. හරි කරදරයක් වෙයිද දන්නේ නැහැ නේද? right. okay. Avanti is one day no 2 transactions, so the second one you cannot. Right? Any other answers against that Avanti's one? Any other answers? මේ ක්ලාස් එකේ මම ඔයගොල්ලොත් එක්ක කතා කරන්නේ බොහොම වෙන්ගත්ව කතා කරන්නේ. මොකද මේක තමයි ට්‍රේඩ් ඉගෙන උගන්වන්න දෙන ලේසිම ක්‍රමේ අපි කතා කරන්න ඕන. මේ වගේ ආගියු කර ඉගෙන ගන්න ඕනේ. ඉගෙන ගත්තාම තමයි පාඩම් කරන්න ඕනේ. නැත්තම් කොහෙද? ඔය අද පටන් ගන්න දේවල් තියෙනවා දෙන්න පටන් ගන්නවා මම. ඒක ඔය කරන්න ඒව කරන්න ඕන. මේවා තුරන්ත අඩු කර ගන්න ඕන. ඒකට කියන්නේ බලන්න. දැන් කටුවස්තර බ්‍රාන්ච් එකට එන්න මේක නවන්ති කියන නෝගන. ඔය උදෙත් ඇවිල්ලා එකක් දාලා ගියා. ඒක 49500. දැන් ඔබතුමාට මේ ආපහු 49000 යවන්න බෑ. දවසට එකයි. Can we refuse or not?
I think we can't refuse it because there are there are two separate transactions.
Right. What is your name, brother?
I'm Minuri.
Huh?
Minuri.
Binuri. Binuri.
Yes.
Now, Binuri says, Binuri is from which bank?
People's Bank.
People's Bank. People's Bank. Now, People's Bank, Binuri says, Waga branch at any minute again, yes. In that, I will entertain. There are two separate. Since it is two separate transactions. Who is correct? Binuri is correct. One thing, Binuri is correct. The reason is per transaction 50,000. Per transaction 50,000. Right? Now we have done this. On third, this guy comes again, Mr. Perra. He comes and he will do an advance payment of US dollars 49,000 to Sharjah. Then on the same day, he do another US dollars 49,500 to Hong Kong. Can we do this? Binuri? Can we do this? What do you think? Avanti? Shanali? What do you think?
Can.
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 Pardon? Yes. Can. Theoretically, can. But yeah, if you are a banker, you have to be vigilant. You have to have due diligence. You have to be vigilant. Vigilant to now, බලන්න වෙනවා මේ එකම විදිහේ දවසක් කරන 49 කියන $100,000 can it's not a small amount no. නේ මිලියන ගාණක් නේ. කොහොම රෙමිට් කරන්න පුළුවන්ද? අනික සාජයි හොංකොනේ. වෙන්න පුළුවන්. This particular thing happened at my branch also. The first one we have done. The second one, when it comes to the counter, the guy who was working at the counter, one of my Goliaths, he came to me and he said, "Sir, we have got a request like this. I have a suspicion." I said, "Why?" "No, the reason is what I have seen. Theoretically, yes, but what I have seen is very suspicious way they are doing this, and even the invoices what we have received, it's in the same font. You can invoices, perform invoice everything. එකම ෆොන්ට් එකකින් සයින් කරලා ඇවිල්ලා තියෙන්නේ. එකම ෆොන්ට් එකකින් ටයිප් කරලා තියෙනවා. ඒතර සාජයකගේ කම්පියුටර් එකයි හොංකොං එක්කෙනාගේ කම්පියුටර් එකයි ඔක්කොම දෙක එකම විදියට. එකම මෙතඩ් එකට, එකම මෙටීරියල්. ඒ කියන්නේ මෙයාම ගහගෙන perform එකක් අරන් යනවා මේ බය. ඒකයි වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. පස්සේ මම කතා කරලා බලලා මම එයාට එන්නේ කොහම customer he didn't come. He wanted to close the account with us. I said, branch manager was fighting with me, saying that he's a very good guy. Now you are, because of your attitudes, he will close the account. I said, ask him to close it. If he is not coming to meet me, I'm not bothered. When I check with when I explain this particular thing in the classroom, most of the guys in the clusters, normally if you are coming to the physical class, the People's Bank crowd will sit together. Commercial Bank crowd will sit together. That's the way you are doing it now. Right? Why? No, sir. Is this the name of the customer? Manko, yes. How do you know? Then they said, sir, we have done, People's Bank was also there. People's Bank, we have done more than 6 or 7 transactions recently. Commercial Bank also, they told me. NDB, NTB, Sampak, Okkom my customer. What is it? Money laundering. It's money laundering. Right? So, if you get a transaction like this, if it is suspicious, please don't do. Report it to your bosses and tell them to report it under suspicious transactions to Central Bank. Because we have to do it. Right? These things will not come to you for your exam, but this is for your information because you are bankers, you are working in branches, right? So you should know how to identify these things, malpractices, and how to notify it to the higher ranks, right? Natu 50,000 limit එක තිබුණා කියලා ඒකේ ඵලයට ගන්න එපා. ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ personal life එකේ have you done any advance payment transactions? Not in the bank. Your personal life. Have you done any international trade transactions on advance payment? නෑ කියන්න නම් එපා. නෑ කිව්වොත් බොරු.
Online payments?
Yes, online payments. This is what we do. Alibaba, then මොනවාද? තව තියෙන්නේ මොකද? අනිත් එක? eBay. ඔක්කොම advance payment. Right? But you are at a risk. If you don't receive the thing, finish. Right? These days, I have done a local online booking. I have ordered 4 pieces of artwork for my living room, right? Done the payment, then more than 2 weeks, now I am crossing my fingers and these people are not answering the phone also. Right? So the buyer has advanced the money and crossing their fingers and wait. This is advance payment. Right? Okay. Right. Can you see this one? Can you see this presentation?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Okay. Now the third payment method is documentary collection. Documentary collection. Documentary collection is a compromise between the two extremes, that is open account and the advance payment. Right? In open account and advance payment, the transactions are routed from the seller to buyer. From the seller to buyer. Right? They are not going through the banks. Only for the payment part, they have to come to the bank. Right? But in documentary collection and documentary credits, everything through the banks. So the third one is documentary collection. Documentary collection one is very, very important. Right? The learning objectives of this particular one, well, definitely you are going to get a full question, 20 marks question on documentary collection. What is meant by documentary collection? The nature of the instructions given by one bank to the another, right? The responsibilities of the parties to a collection, relationship between the parties, then processing and monitoring of collection, how documents are delivered to a buyer and how payments or acceptance is obtained from them, and what happens when payment is not forthcoming. Right? All these things we are going to learn. Right? Now the documentary collection is, as I mentioned to you, it is a compromise between two extreme models. For example, open account and advance payment. But the beauty is the bank is not, even though the documents are routed through the banks, the bank is not involved in any undertaking to pay the seller. They are not taking any undertaking. Right? The bank acts as an agent. The bank acts as an agent. Right? What is happening here in documentary collection, as per the sales agreement, the seller will ship the goods and give the documents, necessary documents. They present it to their seller's bank. They present the documents to the seller's bank, domiciled in seller's country. Right? And then we call that bank remitting bank. Then the remitting bank will send this to its branch or corresponding bank of the buyer's country, right, for payment. That bank is called collecting bank. Now, for example, one of the People's Bank customers, Binurige customer, he's having transactions. He's buying goods from a customer in UK. The seller is in UK. The seller is doing business with Barclays Bank. Seller is doing business with Barclays Bank. So the seller will send the goods to Sri Lanka and give the documents to Barclays Bank with instructions saying that please send these documents to People's Bank head office. People's Bank head office. The customer is given the instructions. So based on the instructions, Barclays Bank will send the documents to People's Bank head office. So Barclays Bank is the remitting bank. People's Bank head office is the collecting bank. Okay? Okay. Documentary collections is a disguised open account transaction. It's a disguised open account transaction, but less secure than letters of credit. Letters of credit is more secure to the exporter, but it is less secure to the exporter. More secure than the open account, but more secure than the open account because the banks are getting involved, but they are not giving any irrevocable undertaking to pay. They are not giving any irrevocable undertaking to pay, but they are getting involved. So up to a certain extent. In open account, that is not happening. The benefits of this documentary collection is they don't have to encumber buyer's line of credit, right? Very inexpensive. If you open LCs, then you have to pay LC charges, right? Then we have to pay, we have to have a limit for opening LCs. Very inexpensive. Effective if properly structured. Effective if properly structured. Right? Then use of correct Incoterms. We are learning Incoterms. Taking the monk. Then we can go Incoterms. Right? Role of banks and freight forwarders. Okay. The risk to the importer is little more than in documentary credits. The risk to the exporter is much greater because it does not have a bank's guarantee as in the case of a documentary credit. Bank guarantee can name, right? But he may have control over the goods through the collecting bank. But he may have certain other controls to control the goods. Now, when it comes to documentary collection operations are governed by International Chamber of Commerce rules on uniform rules for collection. Uniform rules for collection. In short, we say uniform rules for collection. URC 522. URC 522. How do you make it? URC 522.
No.
No. My deepest sympathies. Right? Chain collection patangan is like patangan nimu. Puddak lama yu bayar karala. Omuda karanne kine karla. This I have given to you. International Trade and Finance, Uniform Rules for Collection. This was introduced. This particular version is effective since 1995. That is why I say 1995 revision. ICC publication number 522. Right? Uniform Rules for Collection 1995 revision. Okay. We have 26 articles on URC 522, which gives entire details of collection operations. Right? May make collection details of Kuma. The maker, you have to study. Apinang meva katapadang kala then katapadang karan amari, but you have to have a good understanding of these rules. Article 1, Article 2, then article 3 4 මේ වගේ දිගටම තියෙනවා. දැන් මම මෙතනින් එහාට දැන් ටිකින් ටික කරනකොට මේ articles මම refer කරනවා. You have to check. Today itself, you have to get a print out of this and keep it with you like the Bible. Like the Bible, right? Why I'm saying like the Bible? Well, I'm a Buddhist, but I'm using this word. Like the Bible. I'm ashamed to be just a Buddhist, right? I think most of you, the Buddhist students, will agree with me. For the sake of our birth certificate, we are Buddhist, right? I don't think you are keeping a Dhammapada or whatever Abhidharma book with you and daily reading a page. No, you will not do. But I have seen in the several banks I have worked here as well as overseas. I have worked in overseas for 10 years with HSBC Bank. So whatever the country I am going, right, I can see how these people, the Catholic guys, are, before they start the work in the morning, before they start the work in the morning, they sit in their respective seats and spend about 2 minutes, 3 minutes reading a page from the Bible. They do that, no? අපි කෙලින්ම hi කියන ආවා. hello good morning කියගෙන ආවා. ඊට පස්සේ වාඩි වෙලා ඊට පස්සේ වැඩේ පටන් ගන්න එක 9 වෙනකන් කතා කරන්නේ ඊයේ නාඩගම්කාරයන් කොහොමද සරා ගහපු ගැහිල්ල කොටාට නේද පුතේ? ඕව නේද කතා කරන්නේ? උදට කුටි කෑවා. ඒක අනිත් එකෙන් දෙවෙනි ඉනිමේ අනුස්ථාම ආවේ නෑනේ. මොකද එනවා කිව්වට ආවේ නෑනේ. අපි කතා කරන්නේ ඕවා මිසක් ඊට පස්සේ කෙලිම 9ට වැට්ට බහිනවා. මොකද අර කට්ටිය මම දැකලා තියෙනවා. මම දැකලා තියෙනවා. ඔයගොල්ලෝ දැකලාද නැත්ද මම දන්නේ නැහැ. මම දැකලා තියෙනවා. They are reading at least a para. ඊට වඩා නෑ. One para, small para. කියනවා දවස ගන්න. That is why I am using this term. It's like a Bible killer. Every day, from today onwards, I want you to read 2 articles per day. 2 articles per day, a must if you want to get through trade finance. It's a must. I don't think you can understand. First time it will be like Greek. Second time, yes, second time when you are reading the same article, it will be much easy. And by that time, I have finished discussing the articles with you. So the third time, it will get registered in your head, right? Fourth time, daily. 1 week, 2 weeks, URCFI double click. 2 weeks, 2 weeks, then you have to start from 1. You have to start from 1. Again, another 2 weeks. And you are going to have the exams in September. Now it's July, August, September. July, August, September. 3 months. එක month එකට දෙපාර ගානේ 3 months යනකොට 6 times up කියවනවා. 4 times කියවනනම් ඇති. 4 times up කියවනවා. Right? Later you can increase the volume. Later you can cover more than 3 articles because week after next you are going to get UCP 600 also. Another 39 articles. Right? එතකොට මේකට ලීඩ් එකක් දීලා තියාගෙන හිටියේ නැත්නම් මේ දෙකම හම උගලන්ට කරගන්න බැරි වෙනවා. Just forget about getting through the exam. This is a must. ඒකේ ඉඳ හොඳම දේ මේක මම නම් කියන්නේ මගේ ළමයින්ට මම කරන්නේ හැමදාම උදේට ගිහලා වැඩ පටන් ගන්න ඉස්සෙල්ලා ආටිකල් එකක් කියවන්න. අයි ෆ්‍රී ටයිම් එකක් හම්බුනාම මේක ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ හෑන්ඩ් බෑග් එකේ දාලා තියාගෙන ඉන්න. කොපි එකක් ඔෆිස් එකේ ඩ්‍රෝවර් එකේ දාලා තියාගෙන ඉන්න. එතකොට මේක කියව ගන්න පුළුවන්. රයිට්? රැට බුදියන් ඉස්සෙල්ලා තව ආටිකල් එකක් කියවන්න. ආටිකල් 3ක් විතර කියවුවොත් I will guarantee you will have a very good sleep because it is so boring. Before, when you go to bed, if you start reading a boring book, very soon you go to sleep. But if the book is interesting, even till 1 o'clock you will read. Right? Last night, I read a book. By the time I watched the clock, it was 12:45. I was glued to that. So interesting. Right? But if I start reading UCP and URC, after 2 articles, you are fast asleep. This is a very good medicine for your sleep also. But at least you will get registered certain things. Right? Wheeling QA, කෑමට පෙර කෑමට පසුද කියලා මම දන්නේ නැහැ. බේත් වගේ මේක අද ඉඳන් අතරේ ඉඳන් පටන් ගන්න. අතරේ ඉඳන් පටන් ගන්න. Right? නැත්නම් වන් ඉවර කරගන්න බෑ. So next week when you are coming on 18th, you have to finish up to 14. But if you can finish all 26, excellent. You are the people. Right? Let's see. That's a challenge. Now, having said that, now I'm talking about this definition of collection. It is there. Method clean collection. 2C, Article 2C, clean collection. Clean collection means collection of financial documents not accompanied by commercial documents. You saw? Article 2C. The definition is given. Clean collection means collection of financial documents not accompanied by commercial documents. Right? ඒ වගේ අපි දැන් මේක බලමු. Clean collection. Bill of exchange draft with no commercial documents attached. With no commercial documents attached. URC 522 Article 2C. Right? The amount of the bill may be the cost of goods, in which case the documents of title would have been sent direct to the importer. Right? The cost of a service, such as the use of a tugboat to bring a ship into the harbor when no documents are required. Right? Then ordinary checks that the bank sends for collection. Ordinary checks that the bank sends for collection. That is clean collection. In clean collection, bill of exchange draft, that's a financial document only with no commercial documents attached. Right? Again, we'll go back to Article 2C. මේක පුතා print කරගන්න ටක් ගාලා අදම එතකොට ඔක තියාගෙන ඉන්න පුළුවන් මේ දිගටම ඕන අපිට. When I give you the UCP 600 also, get a printout before you come to the class. Always check your this thing. ඔයගලගේ බලන්න මම අප්ලෝඩ් කරනවා මගේ මම at least one day එකක්වත් කරනවා. Clean collection means collection of financial documents not accompanied by commercial documents. 2C. Right? ඔයගොල්ලන්ට මේක පේනවද? ඔයගලට පේනවද?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
පුතේ ටිකක් බයෙන් කිව්වේ දැන්ටම බය වෙලාද? බය වෙන්න එපා මම කොහොමද පාස් කරනවා. හරිද? හැබැයි මාත් එක්ක මම කියන විදිහට කරන්න ඕන. පාඩම් කරන්න මේ විදිහට පාස් කරනවා. අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම පාස් කරනවා. right? හැබැයි පාඩම් කළොත් මගේ high diploma class එකේ I'm doing lectures for CDCS where they came ළමයින්ට මම කියන්නේ මේ UCP එක print කරලා URC එක print කරලා පාඩම් වෙන්න තව එක ක්‍රමයක් තමයි උදේට 2යි හවසට 2යි පාඩම් කරන එක වෙනම දෙයක්. එකපාර මම කියන්නේ නේ විෂයයන් බලන්නේ කියලා එක දවසේ බෑ. උගලන්ට ඔලුවට වැටෙන්නේ නැහැ. අනිත් වැඩේ තමයි ඔයගොල්ලෝ අර ඉස්කෝලේ යන කාලේ කළා වගේ another method, it's easy method. If you want, you can do that. මේ දෙකේම copies දෙකක් අරගෙන මේ Jesus group එකකින් හරි බුදුහාමුදුරන්ගේ පානපත්තු කරන දැන් තියලා උදේ හවස පානපත්තු කරන්න ඒක ඒත් මතක හිටිනවා. එහෙමත් කළමයි කරනව නේද? පාඩම් නොකර හතරකම දෙයියන්ට බාර වෙනවා. ඒ බාහිර පාස් වෙන්නේ කියලා පාස් වුණොත් බුදුන් එහෙම වෙන්නේ නැහැ. පාඩම් කරන්නම ඕන. පාඩම් කළොත් පාස් වෙනවා. Ordinary checks that bank send for collection is also coming under this clean collection. Then even ordinary check, then අපි දන්නවා අවන්තේ if you are having one of your uncles in USA, right? Your uncle is in USA, and if okay, your birthday is if you say 15 July, early birthday, then uncle right, he will send you a draft. Sorry, he will send you his personal check. His personal check from Bank of New York. Bank of New York. And personal check he got given on. Even the Citibank check he got given on. US dollars. Citibank check got given on US dollars. 50 volt. US dollars 50 volt. Check got given on US dollar 50. Putting on about 10,000 rupees. Right? So it's a very good birthday present to you. But can you change this US dollar 50 check signed by your uncle? Can you change it at your branch? Over the
Can't.
Huh?
Can't.
Then what are you going to do?
Sending it to the relevant bank through our department.
Yes. We are sending the words we are sending this check for collection. For collection. We have to collect this money. For collection, we are sending this check to New York. Right? Now that it will take normally, as per the Sri Lankan regulation and the world practice, it takes about 3 weeks. Neither. Collection check customer you will get the proceeds after 3 weeks. Because we have to collect it and we are sending. Then when the check goes there, they have to go through the internal clearing house of New York. New York clearing house, then you will get the proceeds. Okay? When you get the proceeds, you will not get entire 50,000. Money deducted, commission deducted by Bank of New York. Bank of New York. Up into $10 scale. Commercial bank. Commercial bank can deduct on regular service charges. Then $5. Right? Ultimately, you will get only $35 as your proceeds. And this is how. Now these collection bills also comes under this URC 522. Article 2(c). Right? Ordinary checks. Okay. The next time, Uncle, Uncle, don't send. Thank you very much, Uncle. But hereafter, don't send only $50. You know what had happened is two cousin banks. One is our bank and one is your bank. They both deducted money, and ultimately I got only $35, Uncle. So next time when you are sending money, send me at least $150. So I will get at least $100 on that kilo, 300 money. Right? Okay, fine. Now, what is this other one? Cost of a service such as the use of a tugboat. Even when a ship comes to the outer harbour, it will bring to the inner harbour to berth towed by a tugboat. ඒකට payment එකත් අපි දෙන්නේ clean collection check එකක් තමයි එන්නේ. ඒවත් අපි collections වලට තමයි කියන්නේ. The other one is direct collection. Direct collections. The exporters may simply send their collection directly to the overseas collecting bank without involving their own domestic bank. Right? Now what we have mentioned is we have buyer and we have seller, and between them we have a contract. The seller will send the goods, they will send the goods and give the documents, to his bank. What is the name of the bank? Remitting bank, seller's bank. Then the seller's bank will send the documents. They will send the documents to the buyer's bank, that is collecting bank. Collecting bank, then they will give the documents to the buyer. This is the cycle. Right? Now, the direct collection means instead of giving these documents to the remitting bank, their own bank, they will send the documents direct to the collecting bank. Make a capital. Make a capital. Make that is what you call direct collection. Now, normally in international trade operations, we don't entertain direct collection transaction unless otherwise you are very well known to us. Unless otherwise you are a very good customer. Otherwise, we won't do it. Right? Direct collection. Because there are big risks. The drawbacks from the exporter's point of view are all correspondence follow-ups are directly with the overseas bank. Now they have to do all the correspondence with the collection, overseas bank. It is not easy. Normally, bank to bank, we have a more relationship, close relationship. Here it is not happening. And difficulty to exporter to trace payment of bill proceeds. But if there's a delay in bill proceeds, then they have to directly discuss the matters with collecting bank, overseas bank. They won't entertain those calls. But if you go to remitting bank will send a SWIFT message. We'll have to answer the SWIFT message. More official. So there are pros and cons. Right? The documents are not checked by the exporter's bank, at least for that's sake. Documentary collection. That is also there in the URC 522 Article 2, right? You get clean collection and documentary collection. Documentary collection means bill of exchange or draft. That is a financial document. with shipping documents and commercial documents. Everything, right? Everything will be here. What I have mentioned, docs is documentary collection, right? Including bill of lading, which the importer needs to clear the goods. මෙතන පොඩි මේකක් වුණා මම ඒකෝ presentation එක document seen in collection and international trade. We have not done that. Next week I'm going to do that, right? Then you will have a better understanding of the these words. But anyway, you have the handout of documents seen in international trade. There I have mentioned about bill of exchange, then the bill of lading, drafts, everything is there, right? AR, a handout again. Then the settlement of the bill can be on DP or DA terms. DP means documents against payment or documents against acceptance, DA, right? Though banks do not give any undertaking or assume any liability on their own account, they can effectively arrange to monitor each transaction. They can effectively arrange to monitor each transaction, right? The settlement of the bill can be on DP or DA terms. Now, the payments under collection, we can divide into documentary collection, can be segregated into two things. One is DP, documents against payment. Other one is DA, documents against acceptance. The bank will give documents only if you pay. The collecting bank will release the documents only if you pay. Otherwise, they will not give the documents to you. Here, the collecting bank will give you the documents only you accept the bill of exchange. Bill of exchange is a financial document. If you want to file a case, if you want to go for litigation, you need the bill of exchange, the financial document. So once you accept the financial document to be paid in a future date, then we don't mind giving the documents to you, documents against acceptance. Right? DP is signed immediately. DA is on a future date. Payment on a future date, but you release the document, right? The commercial documents may or may not include the transport documents or may not include financial documents, right? Article 281. URC 522, Article 2D. Wherever possible, I have given you the articles. So with the sub-articles, you can read, right? Refer URC 522. Article 1 outlines that the rules will apply when incorporated into the text of a collection instructions. This follows the principles in all ICC rules that they only apply if the transaction is made subject to their application. The URC 522 make a rules apply when you send the documents, from remitting bank to the collecting bank, you have to mention this is subject to ICC URC 522. ICC URC 522. ඒක තිබුණොත් විතරයි මේ URC 522 rules apply වෙන්නේ. එහෙම නැත්නම් rules apply වෙන්නේ නැහැ. Right? Article 2 defines the meaning of collection and outlines the concept of financial and commercial document. please read the article. The article will define what is collection and what is the meaning of collection, and outlines the concept of financial and commercial documents. Right? Parties to a collection, මයිකත් කරලා නවත්තනවා. හැබැයි ඔගොල්ලෝ කවුරු හරි බිනෝරේ හරි කවුරු හරි මට අවන්තලා කවුරු කොලෙක් ඔගොල්ලෝ මේක මාක් කරගෙන next week remind me where I have stopped. I don't have a handout. Tell me where I have stopped, then I will do it. Parties to a collection. In collection operations, the seller is one party, right? There's another name for the seller, that is exporter, drawer, and principal. Principal is, because he is like the principal of a school. Everybody does the things as per the instructions given by the seller. That is why we call him principal. Right? The drawer of the bill of exchange. Drawer of the bill of exchange means he is the one who draws the bill of exchange. He is the one who creates the bill of exchange. That's a financial document. That's, right? අපිට ඔක සිංහලෙන් කියන්නේ අනකරු අනයක් order එකක් දෙන එක නා අනකරු right? Okay, drawer. The remitting bank, that is the bank of the seller. The remitting bank, party that sends a collection, or the exporter's bank. They are the people who will send the remitting bank will send the documents to the collecting bank. The collecting bank, generally a bank in the buyer's country. Collecting bank, generally a bank in the buyer's country. Collecting bank, buyer's country. And there's another party, presenting bank, that makes the documents available to the buyer, drawee, in terms of the instructions received. Right? In terms of the instructions received. මෙතෙන්දී presenting bank එකට මම මෙහෙම එකක් example එකක් උගන්වන්න කියන්න. ලේසි මෙහෙම The seller is in UK. Seller is in UK, London, right? London. And his bank, remitting bank, is Standard Chartered Bank, London. SCB London. Standard Chartered Bank, London. Now, Standard Chartered Bank, London, when they are sending the documents to Sri Lanka, this collecting bank is collecting bank or where බයගේ bank එක. බයගේ bank එක ඇවිල්ලා සම්පත් bank. In Sri Lanka, they are dealing business with Sampat Bank. Now, when Standard Chartered London sends the documents, normally they send it through their branch or their correspondent. So they have a branch in Colombo. So they will send it to SCB Colombo. They will send it to SCB Colombo, Standard Chartered Bank Colombo. Right? So Standard Chartered Bank Colombo is the collecting bank. Standard Chartered Colombo is the collecting bank. Right? And then the customer is having the account at Sampat Bank. Then the collecting bank, when they inform the buyer, look, I have received a set of collection. Please send it to my bank. My bank is Sampat Bank. So they send the documents to Sampath Bank. Sampath Bank is the presenting bank. They are the presenting bank. They are the one who present the documents to the buyer, presenting bank. People may buy a documents. Right? Is it clear? The difference between the collecting bank and the presenting bank? Presenting bank that makes the documents available to the buyer or drawee in terms of the instructions. In most of the cases, about 95% of the transactions, the collecting bank and the presenting bank is one and same. But if it is different, then there will be collecting bank and the presenting bank. Now, Avanti mentioned that you are working for a commercial bank.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Avanti commercial bank, you have a corresponding relationship with Standard Chartered Bank. Because one time, when I was the head of trade at Standard Chartered Bank, Colombo, at that time we owned 40% of commercial bank's shares. Right? My manager, my country manager was in your board, right? Because we own 40%. Our subsidiary at the commercial bank. Then, but still you have a relationship. So because of that, Standard Chartered Colombo, where London will send the documents direct to commercial bank because they have corresponding relationship, right? But if you don't have a corresponding relationship, then they will send it through some other bank. Make a Cargill's bank, through Standard Chartered. Okay, right? Okay, fine. The last party is the buyer, importer, drawing. Refer URC 522 for article. Make a Q1. Article 3. Article 3 Q1. Now I'm stopping from here. You have to read, as I have mentioned to you. You have to start reading from today. 2 articles per day, right? You decide whether it's before meals or after meals, like having a tablet. Right? Next week in 26 articles. You are great. At least you have to finish 15 articles. Right? Okay, fine. We'll call it a day. Any questions so far? Any questions so far? Yeah. No. Then, thank you very much. We'll see you next week. Right? Okay. Mada meka mata tiyagan mata kanda. Lamai. Okay. Any questions? No? Right. Thank you.